A singer walked into the booth minutes after his girlfriend left him, recorded in one take, never repeated. A track so raw, Southern stations banned it for being too real. The originators who launched Wilson Pickett recorded a torch song in 1971 that collectors now call Holy. And a future jazz legend's very first recording credit, a sax solo on a song about bottles and broken dreams that nobody heard. 1971 wasn't just Marvin and Aretha. It was one-man bands earning nicknames like the Human Percolator, psychedelic warnings that made Paranoia groove. And at number 1, the group that started it all came back to remind everyone they never really left. Number 12, Unchain My Heart, Billy Harner.
Unchain my heart.
The blue-eyed soul stomper from Camden, New Jersey, took a standard and made it sweat.
Unchain my heart, baby, set me free.
Billy Harner was tearing up the East Coast club circuit in 1971 as a regional sensation who earned the nickname the Human Percolator for his raw voice and high-energy delivery that never quit.
Unchain my heart.
Signed to Kama Sutra Records, he brought an intensity to Unchain My Heart that felt different from other versions. Grittier, more desperate, like he was living every word in real time.
That I don't stand a chance.
The track wasn't a chart topper, but it was a floor filler, a funky, gospel-tinged number with enough backbeat to power an entire set and keep bodies moving till closing time. Here's what made Harner special. His DIY approach and willingness to push his voice to the edge gave his recordings an authenticity that polished productions often smoothed away.
Baby, baby, let me go.
You can practically feel the wooden dance floor beneath your feet, the sweat in the air, the crowd clapping on the 2 and 4, caught up in a groove that refuses to let go.
When you don't give it back a beat for me.
Notice how he attacks each phrase with urgency, never letting the energy dip even for a moment, creating relentless momentum.
Unchain my heart.
While Harner never broke through nationally despite his undeniable talent and relentless touring, his recordings live on In Rare Soul Circles and Northern Soul Nights in the UK, where collectors hunt for exactly this kind of raw authenticity.
Unchain my heart.
A performer with a heart full of rhythm and the chops to back it up. If that was Northern grit, wait till you hear the Southern gospel soul heat coming next.
Baby, baby, I call you on.
Number 11, Hearsay, The Soul Children.
I'm getting sick and tired of being accused.
4 voices delivering one sermon of truth, produced by Isaac Hayes and David Porter for Stax Records at the height of their powers. The Soul Children were formed specifically to fill the void after Sam and Dave left the label and the pressure was enormous. In 1971, they dropped Hearsay, a fiery rebuttal to gossip and fake friends that proved they weren't just substitutes, they were the real deal.
Let me tell you something. I don't want y'all to come to my house no more. I want to come over there. Hey, now.
The group's mix of 2 male and 2 female vocalists gave them range, richness, and drama that most groups couldn't achieve, creating conversations within the song itself.
I will make you do things wrong.
Studio legend says the track was recorded in just 2 takes. The anger was real, the harmonies were tight, and the organ was preacher-level fire and brimstone.
I know she did, baby. She was trying to get me.
Hear how the voices trade accusations and affirmations. building intensity until the whole thing feels like it might explode, then pulling back just enough to let you breathe before hitting again. You hear it and suddenly you're transported. Back in a hot southern juke joint with sticky floors, fried catfish in the air, bodies swaying in time, everyone knowing exactly what it feels like to be talked about.
You gonna have faith in me, you know? I'm the man. But Shirley's not that friend, honey.
Though they never reached superstardom despite multiple solid releases and consistent quality, the Soul Children carved out a respected niche, and Hearsay became a cult favorite for soul purists who value authenticity over commercial shine.
You keep bugging me and nagging me about some Hearsay.
The track remains a masterclass in group dynamics and controlled fury.
What she was really trying to do.
From sermons to seduction, this next act brought sensuality with a psychedelic twist.
You know what breaks my heart a little? Only 1% of the people who watch R&B vinyl are actually subscribed. 99 out of 100 of you keep coming back, vibing with the grooves, feeling the stories, reliving the voices that built soul itself, but you still haven't hit that button. Think about it. You've spent time here, maybe even rediscovered a song that hit you right in the chest, and yet you're walking away before the next track drops. Subscribing costs nothing, not a cent, but it means you'll never miss the moments that remind you who you were when that record first played. R&B vinyl isn't just music, it's memory, it's heritage. It's the pulse that still beats under everything we love. Don't just listen from the sidelines. Be part of the 1% who keep the soul alive. Hit subscribe, stay, groove, and keep the record spinning with us.
Number 10, Let Me Down Easy, Inez Foxx. The Sister of Soul flew solo with Velvet Payne that cut deeper than any duet ever could. Most remember Inez Foxx as half of the duo Inez and Charlie Foxx, best known for their hit Mockingbird that became a standard. But in 1971, she stepped into the spotlight solo with Let Me Down Easy. And here's what made it devastating. This wasn't your average heartbreak ballad. It was drenched in soulful resignation, set against swirling strings and a slow funk rhythm section that moved like molasses and heartache combined. Recording at Vault Records, she was given full creative freedom, and she used it to create one of the year's most emotionally devastating slow jams that still sounds fresh decades later. The arrangement gives her space to breathe, to pause, to let silence do the heavy lifting between phrases. You can almost see it, the record spinning in a low-lit apartment, someone in bell-bottoms and heartbreak dancing alone in the kitchen, living inside this moment of beautiful sadness. Catch how the strings swell just before each chorus, amplifying the emotion without overwhelming her voice, which remains the centerpiece throughout. Though it never became a chart hit, despite its obvious quality, it remains a deep-cut classic for crate diggers and late-night DJs who understand that commercial success doesn't always align with artistic achievement. Inez proved she could command a track solo, turning vulnerability into strength. From solo sorrow to cosmic groove, our next band took soul music to outer space. Number 9, Wichita Lineman cover, Black Heat. They transformed a country ballad into a funky slow burner that sounds like Sly Stone met Gil Scott-Heron at midnight with a Moog keyboard. Black Heat formed in Washington, D.C., blending R&B, jazz, and psychedelic funk into something that defied easy categorization. In 1971, they released a mind-bending cover of Wichita Lineman, taking Glenn Campbell's country standard and reimagining it as jazz funk fusion with a soul center. Produced by Joel Dorn and featuring tight horn sections that punch and breathe in all the right places, the track veers between groove and atmosphere, never settling into either completely. Here's the story. Legend has it they recorded their parts in a single smoky session. Inspired by the Curtis Mayfield method of tracking everything live to capture the energy and spontaneity of the moment. Notice how the horns answer each other like a conversation, while the rhythm section locks into a pocket that's both relaxed and urgent, creating tension that never quite resolves. It's a sonic trip that shouldn't work on paper, but succeeds brilliantly in execution, proving that genre boundaries are meant to be crossed and recrossed. They never hit major commercial success despite their obvious innovation and skill, but their sound would influence later acid jazz and hip-hop samplers who recognized something special. The track remains a testament to fearless experimentation. Next up, a band so mysterious we're still trying to figure out who was even in it. Still feeling this soul archaeology? Drop your favorite discovery so far in the comments. Number 8, The Bottle, Brother to Brother. A social cry from the underground featuring a future jazz funk legend on his very first recording credit. Brother to Brother came out of New Jersey with streetwise soul and jazz-inflected activism that spoke directly to the chaos of the early 70s. The Bottle was their answer to Vietnam, poverty, and addiction, the triple threat destroying communities across America. Released on Turbo Records in 1971, it echoed Gil Scott-Heron's themes of social consciousness, but delivered with more radio-ready polish, making the medicine easier to swallow without diluting the message. Here's what few people realized at the time. That saxophone solo cutting through the mix was played by future jazz funk legend David Sanborn on his first ever recording credit, years before he'd become a household name. You can almost feel it listening. The fire escapes, the late night arguments, the sound of a city trying to stay hopeful when hope feels like a luxury it can't afford. Hear how the horns punctuate the social commentary, adding urgency and beauty to observations that could have felt heavy-handed in less skilled hands. Brother to Brother would remain in the shadows despite the quality of their output, never quite breaking through to mainstream recognition. But their messages were anything but quiet, resonating with anyone who lived through what they were describing. The track remains relevant, proof that great social commentary transcends its moment. And if that was political funk, wait till you hear the band that turned heartbreak into high art. Number 7, Want Ads, Honeycomb. 3 women turned the classifieds into a number 1 smash that flipped the script on who does the choosing. Honeycomb came out of Los Angeles in 1971 with Want Ads. And here's what made it revolutionary. Instead of waiting by the phone, they placed an ad for a new man like they were hiring for a position. Produced by the legendary Holland Dozier Holland after they left Motown and started Hot Wax Records, the track blended girl group harmonies with a funk-driven bass line and strings that punctuated every declaration of independence. The song shot to number 1 on both the Billboard Hot 100 and the R&B charts, making Honeycomb the first girl group on the HDH label to achieve that feat and proving their formula still worked outside of Motown. The twist nobody saw coming. Lead singer Edna Wright was Darlene Love's sister, carrying that same powerful, no-nonsense vocal delivery that demanded respect, not sympathy. Notice how the bass line walks with confidence while the strings add drama, creating a sound that's both playful and dead serious about taking control. You hear this and you're right there. Women gathered around a kitchen table, laughing and plotting, refusing to settle, choosing themselves first. Though Honeycomb had a couple more hits, they dissolved by 1973, leaving Want Ads as their lasting statement. An anthem of self-determination that still resonates 50 years later. That track demanded better. This next one made you feel every ache. Number 6, Groovy People, The Natural 4. The smooth Oakland harmony machine delivered West Coast soul that felt like the antidote to chaos. Oakland's The Natural 4 had been grinding in the local scene for years, paying dues and refining their sound before finally catching a break in 1971 with Groovy People on Curtis Mayfield's Curtum label. While not a chart smash despite the Mayfield connection, it was a regional favorite, a laid-back anthem of togetherness that captured the West Coast soul vibe perfectly. Produced by Fred Pittman, it featured tight harmonies, mellow guitar lines, and lyrics about unity that felt necessary during times when division seemed to be winning.
Leroy Hudson is still doing the thing on the writing.
They were often compared to The Moments or Early Earth, Wind and Fire, soulful, precise, and full of heart, carrying on traditions while adding their own West Coast flavor. Hear how the harmonies stack and shimmer, each voice distinct yet perfectly blended, creating warmth that feels like sunshine translated into sound. This was cookout music, roller rink music, backyard boogie music, the soundtrack to good times and community gatherings where everyone was welcome. And they're still sampled today by underground hip-hop producers looking for exactly that feel, that authenticity, that vibe that can't be manufactured or faked. The track endures because it captured something real. And if that was Sunshine Soul, get ready for one of the darkest grooves of the decade. Number 5, Smiling Faces Sometimes, the Undisputed Truth.
Show no traces of the.
The warning shot with a psych soul twist that made Paranoia sound beautiful.
Let me tell you, the truth is in the eyes.
Formed by Motown genius Norman Whitfield specifically to experiment beyond the label's usual boundaries,
Don't tell the truth. Smiling faces.
the Undisputed Truth were created to push limits. And in 1971, Smiling Faces Sometimes became their haunting calling card that would define them forever. With layered vocals and eerie echo effects that still sound innovative today, it was a psychedelic soul track with teeth, warning listeners not to trust appearances in a world where betrayal could wear a friendly face.
And I got proof. Oh, Lord, yeah.
The chorus is catchy but chilling, and that's what made it revolutionary. It proved Paranoia could be a groove. That warning could be a hook.
Don't let the handshake and the smile fool ya.
Here's the story. Studio lore says Whitfield made them sing it dozens of times to get that unnerving blend of harmony and suspicion, pushing for a sound that lived between beauty and unease.
It just might hold you.
You hear this track and instantly picture it: lava lamps, incense, and a little paranoia in the air. The early 70s captured in 3.5 minutes. Notice how the production creates space and claustrophobia simultaneously, making you feel both expansive and trapped inside the song's warning. Though they later fade as Whitfield moved on to other projects, this single still turns heads and gets sampled decades later. Its message is relevant as ever. From suspicion to seduction, this next group laid down one of the smoothest grooves you've never heard. If these forgotten treasures are hitting right, smash that like button and let's keep real R&B alive.
I'm telling you, beware of the pattern.
Number 4, You're Gonna Make Me Cry, O.V. Wright.
Oh, baby.
The preacher of Payne returns with a voice like Sunday Morning Sorrow.
But I'm begging you, baby.
O.V. Wright was never a household name despite his immense talent, but in soul circles he was royalty, respected by everyone who understood what deep soul really meant.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
In 1971, he re-recorded You're Gonna Make Me Cry with even more hurt in his voice than the original version, digging deeper into the wound.
Gonna break my heart.
Backed by the legendary Memphis Horns and produced by Willie Mitchell at the height of his powers, it was a masterclass in restraint and ache, proving that sometimes less is exponentially more.
Begging you, baby. You gone.
His voice carried Sunday morning sorrow mixed with Saturday night regret, pure gospel soul that made believers out of skeptics. Here's what gives you chills. It's said that Al Green used to study O.V., Wright's phrasing word for word, learning how to make pain sound beautiful and turn vulnerability into power. You listen to this, and suddenly everything slows down around you. The tears, the rain, the heartbreak, all moving at the same languid, inevitable pace.
Cry. Here's another thing I want to tell you.
Catch how he bends notes and holds silence, using space as an instrument to create emotional impact that hits harder than any sustained wail ever could. This track remains a staple for deep soul fans who understand that commercial success and artistic achievement don't always align. And O.V.'s influence lives in everyone from Otis Redding to D'Angelo, a through line of emotional honesty. From preacher's pain to pure dance floor power, next we boogie.
Love could be here today.
Number 3, Just My Imagination, Running Away With Me, The Temptations.
Myself, you're such a lucky guy.
Wait, this wasn't obscure, it was number 1. But here's what most people miss. By 1971, The Temptations had completely transformed. This wasn't a slick-suited group from My Girl anymore. This was Norman Whitfield's psychedelic soul laboratory at full power. The track, released on Gordy Records, featured Eddie Kendrick's celestial falsetto floating over a groove so delicate it felt like walking on air, backed by strings that shimmered like heat waves. What made it devastatingly beautiful was the contradiction. A man imagining a perfect romance that doesn't exist, living entirely in his head while reality crumbles around him. Producer Norman Whitfield had already taken them into darker territory with Ball of Confusion, but this brought vulnerability back, proving the Temptations could break your heart as easily as they could make you dance. Here's the moment that gets you. When Kendrick's voice lifts during Every Night on My Knees I Pray, you feel the desperation of someone clinging to a fantasy because the truth is too painful.
I watch her as she passes by.
Notice how the strings swell and recede like breathing, creating space for the longing to expand and contract throughout the track. Though the Temptations would continue evolving through the 70s, this became one of their most covered songs. Everyone from the Rolling Stones to Boyz II Men tried to capture its magic. The track remains a masterclass in making heartbreak beautiful, proof that imagination can be both salvation and prison.
Hear my plea. Don't ever let.
From fantasy to reality's harshest truths, this next track brought pain you could touch. Number 2, Bring the Boys Home, Freda Payne. A protest song disguised as a mother's plea that radio stations couldn't decide whether to play or ban. Freda Payne had already scored with Band of Gold in 1970, but in 1971, she released something far more daring on Holland Dozier Holland's Invictus Records, Bring the Boys Home. While Vietnam raged and the nation tore itself apart, Payne delivered an anti-war anthem wrapped in soul's sweetest packaging, making the political deeply personal. The track featured marching drums, gospel-style backing vocals, and Payne's voice moving from gentle pleading to urgent demand as the song built towards its climax. Here's what made it controversial. Radio stations split down the middle, some playing it in heavy rotation while others refused to touch it, claiming it was too political during wartime. The song reached number 12 on the pop charts and number 3 R&B, proving audiences were hungry for artists willing to say what everyone was thinking. Notice how the arrangement mirrors a protest march, the drums keeping steady time while voices multiply and grow louder, building from whisper to roar. You hear this and you're transported. Mothers at kitchen tables, protest signs in hands, voices rising together, demanding their children come home alive. Though Payne continued recording throughout the 70s, Bring the Boys Home became her most powerful statement, proof that soul music could comfort and challenge simultaneously. The track remains relevant wherever conflict sends young people to fight. From political fire to spiritual pain, the final entry proves legends never really leave. Number 1, theme from Shaft, Isaac Hayes. An 18-minute orchestral soul-funk odyssey that won an Oscar, a Grammy, and changed what black music could be. Isaac Hayes wasn't just a producer anymore. In 1971, he became a cinematic force with theme from Shaft for MGM Records. Here's what made it revolutionary. Hayes took the wah-wah guitar, hi-hat pulse, and a full orchestra, then conducted them like a symphony that could also make you move, proving soul could be both sophisticated and street. When Hayes became the first African American to win the Academy Award for Best Original Song, he didn't just break a barrier, he kicked the door wide open. Notice how the arrangement breathes and shifts, moving from cool restraint to explosive funk and back again, creating a sonic narrative without words. You hear this and you're walking down a city street with purpose, every step matching that hi-hat, feeling unstoppable. This wasn't just a hit. It was a cultural earthquake that proved black artists could command orchestras, win Oscars, and redefine soul music on the world's biggest stages.
I'm talking about